But if you execute on these 5 tips, you will improve the odds of getting that custody arrangement that you want and your children deserve. Tip number 1, keep your emotions in check. Now, the number 1 self-inflicted wound we see men make in family court is they do not keep their emotions in check. They do things that they wish they wouldn't have done. Punch a hole in the wall, trap or keep their significant other from leaving a room, sending text messages, calling people names, taking actions out of emotion rather than logic and reason. And this is usually the number 1 cause that we see when men come to us with ongoing cases as to why they're not where they want to be. It's key that in these situations we keep our composure, that in these situations we take a step back and we take a breath and we make decisions that we would be proud of making. Because if you avoid those self-inflicted wounds in the courts in 2024, in 2025, you will put yourself in such a better position. The courts are getting better. We're seeing trends, we're seeing statistics where men are getting more and more custody. But when we see men have really bad custody orders, it almost always is because of a self-inflicted wound made by an emotional or rash decision. So tip number 1 is keep your emotions in check. Tip number 2, focus on the kids. Now, I can't say this enough. In order to get the custody arrangement you want, everything you do has to be focused on what is best for the kids. If you're going to be arguing for a specific custody arrangement, the argument needs to start out, it's in the best interest of the kids to do this because, not I want this. We see this a lot. Dads, moms, parents in general. I want this custody arrangement. I need this. I need that. Be the parent in these situations that says, well, it's best for the kids if we do this. I'm thinking of the kids, so we should do this. If you're able to verbalize that in communications with a mediator, in communications in front of the judge is going to understand that you aren't looking out for selfish reasons. You aren't looking out, the common argument is, oh, he just doesn't want to pay child support, or he doesn't want to do this, or he doesn't want to do that. He just wants this on paper. But if you're constantly talking about, it's best for the kids if we do this, then you are going to look better in front of the judge. And here's the deal. We know there's over 30 years worth of research and studies that show that maximizing time with each parent is what's in their best interest. So when you're making those arguments, whether they're in writing, in requests or in motions, or you're orally arguing in front of the judge, make sure you're using the right language to show that you are actually focused on the children, not that spouse, not that ex-partner, no matter how angry you are at them. This is about the children and doing what is best for them. Tip number 2, stay focused on the children. Tip number 3, show you can do it all yourself. Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is when you go from a parenting unit with your soon-to-be ex-wife or your ex-girlfriend to being a single father, you need to show the courts that you can perform all the necessary functions for your children on your own. This means not depending on new girlfriend, not depending on your siblings, not depending on your mother to perform duties, but that you can do it all on your own. While you're in a relationship, maybe she took them to school and she took them to the doctor and you picked them up from school and you were heavily involved with after-school activities. Now that you're going to be a single parent, you need to show that, hey, I can get the kids up in the morning. I can get them to school. I can be involved in doctors and dentists and other appointments. I can be at parent-teacher conferences. Then I can pick the kids up from school. I can get them to their extracurricular activities, and I can feed them. I can clothe them. Every single one of their needs can be met by me and me alone. So it's very, very important in a situation where you may have played a very specific role. We see this all the time. We represent a lot of blue-collar men, whether it's they work in the trades or they're law enforcement officers or maybe military men, where they may work unique schedules. They may work long shifts that prevent them from doing some of these things with their children. Well, upon divorce or separation, you now are responsible for those duties. So you need to show the court that you can make the changes, that you can provide everything that your kids need. And that's going to give them reason to grant custody orders that you are requesting. Tip number 4, show you are flexible. Now, what does this mean? This means a couple of different things. Number 1 is we all know kids of all ages, from newborns to 17-year-olds, are going to have changing needs. They're going to have changing schedules. They're going to need different things. Whether it's a newborn to 2 or 3-year-old where their sleeping schedule may change, or a high schooler that their extracurricular activity schedule may change, or they have an appointment in the middle of the day that you need to take them to. You must show the courts that you have that flexibility. It is key in parenting to have one parent who has that flexibility. But now that you're doing it by yourself, you need to show that you have the flexibility. Now, this is one of the 5 tips where I say, you can show that you have a support system around you that provides that flexibility. Maybe it's their auntie, your sister. Maybe it's an uncle. Maybe it is grandma or grandpa that can do these things. But showing that while in your care, you have the ability to take care of the evolving needs and the evolving schedules of your children. So tip number 4, show that you're flexible. Tip number 5, show the work you've done. It's 2 parts. Number 1 is you need to show what you've contributed during the time where you and the co-parent were together. You need to show that you were an active and involved father. You need to show you know the activities. You need to show you know the doctors and teachers, and you know their schedules, and you know what they need and the foods they eat and what they do on a daily basis. Show that you're not an absent father. Show that you're actively involved. And then number 2 is that going through a breakup with someone, whether it's your soon-to-be ex-wife or a girlfriend, can be traumatic. Show that you've done parenting classes. Show that you have worked on yourself and you talk to a therapist, or you're doing things to make yourself better as a parent. Something as simple as, if you weren't a super active parent, but showing the judge that, hey, I went to a parenting course, or I took a parenting class, or in unfortunate situations where domestic violence has been alleged, show that maybe you've gone to anger management classes, or you've completed the requisite domestic violence prevention courses. Showing the courts that you are putting in an extreme amount of effort in terms of making yourself better and ensuring your kids have the parent they need can go a very, very long way. So tip number 5, show the courts the work you've done. So we've gone through the top 5 tips for getting 50-50 custody. Number 1, keep your emotions in check. This is the number 1 mistake we see men make. Number 2, keep it focused on the children. Don't focus on what you need or what you want. You need to focus on what is best for the children. Number 3, show you can do it all yourself. You no longer are parenting together. You are parenting as a single individual, and you need to show the courts that you have the ability to do just that. Number 4, show flexibility. Raising a child requires flexibility from a parent, whether it be schedules or needs of the child. You need to show that you are flexible enough to be there and be the parent that your children need. And last but not least, number 5, show the work you've done. When a relationship comes to an end, all of us probably have some things we need to work on or things that we can get better at. You need to show that work. Show the effort you've put in towards being the best parent and the best person possible. Because if you do that and you execute on all 5 of these tips, you are putting yourself in the best position possible to get that 50-50 custody arrangement. I'm Mark Real Jr., the Father's Rights Attorney. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next time.